You're listening to Hey Pal, What's New with JohnAlex and Greg. Hey Pal, What's New is a product of Sack of Sin Entertainment. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all other social media platforms. Hey Pal, What's New can be found on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and all other podcast locations. Or check us out at sackofsin.com or heypalwhatsnew.com. Warning, Hey Pal, What's New contains explicit content. JohnAlex and Greg are a pair of vulgar Gen Xers. If you are easily offended, please stop listening and go download a nice tame podcast like the Goop Podcast. You have been warned.
Which one of you landlubbers took my cage?
Where's my cage? That's not my parrot. That's a kid in a parrot costume.
You know, like this song goes on for 2 hours.
I'm just deadpanning. It's like,
You're like,
I guess it's true. You never stop making fart with your mouth noises.
No, you have to.
I'm one of those one who sits in class and when the kids aren't looking, I'll just go.
It never gets old. Hey guys, guess what? It's Hey Pal, What's New? It's Friday night. It is.
Oh, I'm gonna kill you. Keep that mic steady. All I keep hearing is the of the arm.
I'm not touching it.
It's your cord. That's what it is. Every time the cable moves, it's so weird. Anyway.
Yeah, so anyway, it's Hey Pal, What's New? I'm Greg. That's JohnAlex over there, and we're here to entertain your asses. It's Friday.
It's my OCD ass over here.
I'm not touching.
I think
maybe
it's your headphone cord banging on the
It could be the
bottom of
headphone
mic.
cord. Let's try to stretch that out.
Oh, that's what he said.
I've
never. Oh my God, I got somebody with that today because we were talking about. Oh my God, I forget what we were talking about, and I was like, "Oh, we're talking about how cold it was."
Oh.
And I was like, and the one person there goes, "Yeah, I require at least a good 6 inches," and she was referring to penis size.
Wow, size queen.
And she's like, I need at least 6 inches. And I'm not talking guy 6 inches. I'm talking girl 6 inches. And I was like, oh, is that the measure from the bottom, not from the top? You know, the useful 6 inches? And she's like, absolutely. And then I said, well, you know, I'll never touch the bottom of a Pringles can, but I'll scrape the shit out of the sides.
That's right.
The two people there were hysterical. And it's nice to know you still have people at work you can make those jokes with that aren't going to get offended.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. I was talking with Manal actually last week. She had to do the, every job you have to watch the sexual harassment training, and she was like,
"Oh, tell me more."
I know. Wait, hold on. Let me get a little closer to the microphone. No, she's like, I gotta watch these videos. I was like, oh, can I watch them? They're freaking hilarious.
Oh, I know.
That one guy that's just like, it's common sense, guys. Don't grab a tit at work. Just that's. I said, when we have it for my job.
It's right up there with don't take your pecker out at work.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let your dick run your life.
Only cost you a quarter.
That's right. Funny enough, oh man, this is so freaking ADD day. I watched DC Cab recently. It was on one of the movie channels, and I was like, God damn, this is a horrible bad movie.
I quote those things I quote movies all the time in class, and my students just like, we don't know what you're talking about.
No.
And then I have to tell them, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't quote something like that. Don't let your dick run your life. Mr. Vitagas told me not to let my dick run my life.
It's freaking words to live by,
It is. Dude, I caught a kid today in class, speaking of what's new.
Oh.
I'm walking around my room, and I look, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And I go, what is that? And he's like, it's a pen tester.
Pen tester?
He's like, you know what that is? All obnoxious. I'm like, yeah, I know what that is. And I just want to be like, yeah, I know what that is, you fucking cock knocker. But shout out to Kevin Smith. Copyright Kevin Smith cock knockers. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, I know what it is. I was like, what are you doing? He goes, and he just does this mumble because he's got it plugged into his Chromebook. And what a pen tester is, it's a penetration tester.
Ooh.
No, not that kind.
Dang.
AKA butt plug.
Yikes. Yikes. So, hey, pal, what's new? Go check out our animation. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. It's a penetration tester is the device that that basically scans your network or scans a device for vulnerabilities that it can exploit.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, Jesus. I was like, do you just want to get yourself in trouble?
Yeah.
He's like, wait, what? What do you mean? I was like, never mind. And then the bell rings. So I go upstairs. I talk to our tech person. I was like, listen. And they're like, oh, you have to report this. I was like, I'm just giving you a heads up.
Yeah.
So then I go down to the administration and I tell them, they're like, oh, you're going to do a referral? And I was like, yes, I'm going to do a referral. I'm giving you a heads up ahead of the time. And they're like, okay. So end of the day, I go to the administrator's office and I'm like, did you get my email? Because I sent them the link to what the device is. It's called a Flipper Zero.
Okay.
And for those of you who want to look it up, and they're like, yeah, we got it. And I was like, my email? And they go, no, we got the device. We brought the kid in. The tech people came. They asked him to give it over. He gave it over. They took it, and they're going to search it and look at the card that was in it to see what information he's gotten or what he's got on there. So then, like, I get home from work, and I get a phone. My phone rings. I'm like, hello? And they're like, hi, it's so-and-so from the Verona Tech Department. And I was like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? And they're like, yeah, we just want to let you know we had a data breach, and your information was some of the information. And I'm like, the kid was scanning the network and trying to grab my logins as I'm on the network. I'm like, this freaking...
Yeah, they're all smart until you confront them. Then they're like,
oh, and this is not the first time these things have happened.
Wow.
You know, and I sent it out to the computer science group, teachers group that I'm in. I'm like, I'm sure most of you know this, but I actually did catch a kid today using this, which prompted a lockdown of every single teacher account and forced every teacher to have to go in and change their password now, because once you're scanning that network, you can grab everything that's going across it.
Yeah, I have to constantly change my password at work. It's just, one of those
because
things.
I forget them.
Yeah.
At my age, it's like, what was my password again? I thought it was Bosco.
Oh, I know. I changed. If somebody knows, like, one of my passwords,
they know all of them.
They pretty much, you could sink the world.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to come up with new ones every one. I mean, like, my work one, and you can't use the same one twice. And I've been there, 11 years?
Yeah.
Like, I'm starting to run out of stuff, but...
I can't reuse the last two. I think that's what they limit us to, which is an okay policy, but they make us change it every 3 months. I'm like, that's a little excessive.
Yeah. Well, there was one time actually at work where my system got hacked, and they started sending out all these emails, and they, the COO called me in and he was like, all right, well, what's your password? And I told him, he goes, seriously? Like, could you be a little bit more freaking inventive? I'm like,
no,
not if I have to change it every fucking time. But hey,
I'm gonna remember.
It's Tech Talk here, and hey, pal, what's new? But yeah, man, my week has been not much going on. I mean, I did get back. I finally picked up a guitar after like 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
Was
it like riding a bike? Did it all just come right back to you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I had my first rehearsal with the cover band last night, and I haven't. It's been one of those crazy couple of months where I was just like, and you see my apartment, there's guitars all over the place. Yeah. I just keep looking at them going,
I've thought about robbing you.
Someday I'll pick that guitar up and play something. But yeah, it was yesterday I finally got back in the jam room and did some songs. It's like riding a bike, my friend. Just all comes back, And Critically Ashamed is getting ready for a big showcase, so I gotta start doing that.
Oh, poor Gregory. Gregory, you doing the rock thing?
Oh, are you getting paid for this show? Mom, I haven't gotten paid in freaking 30 years.
Fuck you, pay me.
Anyway, but
anywho.
Yeah, other than that, it's just been cold and windy. It's as cold as, like we were saying, it's as cold as a witch's tit. Now, has anybody ever felt a witch's boob? Is it cold?
It is.
It must be. I mean, I've touched some goth boobs in my day. They weren't cold. They weren't exactly witches. Have you ever dated a witch or a Wiccan?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I've dated some fucking weirdos. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, that and my freaking Wi-Fi blew up today because freaking...
Oh, Verizon. Because Mayapack sucks.
Yeah, well, at least we don't, knock on wood, I haven't lost any. I mean, I was literally sitting in my house because I work from home today, and I'm like, everything's working great, and all of a sudden the lights went out for a second, and you just heard... I was like, that can't be good.
Tree branch fell and hit a transformer.
Yeah, they're more than meets the eye. John Cena. John Cena.
What would John Cena say about this?
You're late, you fucking dickheads.
He's not wrong.
He's not. No, we were late today. So thank you all for hanging out with us and getting involved with our little Friday night toodly-doo. We went through the what's new, and can we? Do we have any? I know we got to talk. We got to talk about this whole DC attack, and that would probably be big ones. But yeah, you got any other that? That's what I was thinking.
I was waiting for you to find the words.
It's never gonna happen.
John, you got any news?
Okay, so as I put in the show notes, and I put in the YouTube notes, so this is kind of hashtagged out there is a lot of news about shows being renewed and shows being kept. And I'm going to save one of them for the last because I think that leads into what you were talking about.
Okay.
So Stranger Things writers have come out and said that the rumored 11 spin-off show, not true.
Okay,
So
good.
they're like, shut the fuck up about that.
Yeah. Why would you do a spinoff? She's pretty much the focal point of the whole series anyway.
I know. And what are you going to do? I mean, you're not going to get Millie Bobby Brown to do that show. I mean, it would take a lot of money, and I don't think they got that at this point.
Nah.
She's doing too many other amazing shit that I can't,
I just want Will Byer, a love story.
Yes!
Which we'll get to that TV later.
Take my money, please.
I can't wait to talk about that.
The Batman. Hey, Mila.
Hey, it's Mila, everybody.
Are your headphones connected to the TV upstairs?
They might be. Why?
Because Xander and Connor are playing their game.
No, they're not. They're not even on. They're just plugged into this.
Groovy. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
we're live.
You're on right there behind Greg. If you want to,
that's so cool.
if you want to stick your head.
Yeah,
in.
stick it at everybody. It's the Moo.
It's the Mushu wearing the Batman shirt. Nice.
That's right.
You know, we're getting to that because we were just about to talk about the news that the Batman spin-off show, the Penguin show, they've announced that there's going to be 8 episodes to that show. So we
Is
at
that
least have
HBO?
that. Yes, HBO Max.
Makes sense.
It's not TV. It's HBO.
That's right. Well, and we were also going to talk about a lot of shows that have already been given a second season. Like I told Mila before, the 90s show.
Oh.
16 episodes in the new season. They've already set that up.
Okay.
Night Court gets a season 2.
Very cool.
I started watching this. I didn't finish. Hit Monkey.
Hit Monkey.
Yeah, it's a Marvel thing about a monkey assassin.
I think I heard about that. Yeah.
It's up there with Invincible with how inappropriate it is.
Right up my alley.
Yeah. Mayfair Witches gets a season 2.
Sweet.
The Gladiator movie has a release date of 11/22/24.
I just heard about that on the way here. I was listening to one of my shows.
Yeah.
It's about it's his kid Lucius, isn't it? Is
Yes.
that the kid's name? Lucius?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the Harrison Ford spin-off from Yellowstone, 1923. Gets its second season.
Get off my plane.
Which is interesting because I don't think 1883, the other prequel series, got a second season.
Really?
This
Okay.
was like the second season of that. And let's see, Mandalorian, the new promo shots have him wearing the Darksaber.
Wearing it or holding it?
Wearing it in a hilt.
Wearing it in his gut because they stabbed him.
Well,
Spoiler.
with it unactivated on his side.
Gotcha.
And Jeffrey D. Morgan posted a picture of him reading the Invincible comics, hinting that he's got a role. So fans went freaking nuts with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen the fan art of him as Omni-Man.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh boy, it looks good. It makes me want to.
'Cause
It makes me want him as Omni-Man. I'm really hoping he is.
They haven't confirmed whether he.
Would you like to sit, Mila?
No, I have to go back upstairs. The boys are upstairs.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Mazel tov. Have fun.
Well, thanks for coming
peace out,
by.
Peace out, non-Girl Scout.
Feature for once.
Yeah.
Oh, restream. Oh, that was me.
Oh, okay.
And in last news, which I figure was going to lead into what you were talking about, of all the shows, DC is keeping the Superman and Lois show.
Oh, good.
So they're not. I'm so happy about that because that is such a good show.
I've heard it was really good. Yeah.
It's amazeballs.
It's amazeballs. Well, it's good to hear that there's shows that are continuing where,
Yep.
In the current climate with all these shows getting canceled, you're just like, oh my God. But that, it's nice to hear that some of these shows, like even like the Superman and Lois, which people are really, I haven't watched it personally, but I hear good things.
I heard some
So
things.
I heard some things.
I heard some things. What did you hear about DC? What was your news about DC?
Well, I mean, we got to address the freaking, super elephant in the room about the plans.
Oh, well.
The Gunn and Safran plans.
Oh, my God. I felt like we I guess it was last week I talked about, like, all the other DC shit that was getting canceled, and I didn't realize that, James Gunn coming out and saying how the Flash movie is going to reset the DC universe, and that Aquaman 2 is going to lead into the new Superman movie.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing is why they pushed it off again, so they can film some stuff that lets it lead in.
Yeah, I mean, we were joking last week about, like, look, dude, TikTok, you got, like, he waited till the last day of the month and did a video, talked about the whole slate of what they got going on with DC. A lot of cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
Real excited about it. Still a little bit convoluted.
That's Hitmonkey.
Oh, nice. Hello, Hitmonkey. Still a little convoluted as far as, like, the only date that they gave that was confirmed was Superman Legacy, which sounds interesting. I do love that they are basing a lot of these shows. Oh, look at that. Nice.
It's fucking Jeffrey D. Morgan in the Omni-Man suit.
Nice.
With the scar on his face and everything.
Oh.
You can't give fans shit and, like, not expecting to lose their shit. I mean, they were putting, what's his name? John Krasinski, I think it was, in the Reed Richards costume
way before.
As, like, a way, and shit like this is what gets stuff done. It's like, he puts out himself in it. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's
himself
fine.
Reading that comic book. The fans grab it and run with it, and now you've got a campaign for him to be in the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
the show.
The fans do have power these days. It's a little too much power sometimes, but
you think?
Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, as far as going over the whole DC thing, I mean, it's been done a million times, but
right.
It's interesting to see how, what's staying, what's going. I mean, he said that, like, he said the Flash is like one of the best comic book movies of all time.
Well, I think it's good that they're leaning heavy into IP that's not super popular.
Yeah. I mean,
well, then we're not comparing it to all the stuff we've already got. Well, that Batman movie was better. This Flash movie was better. That Aquaman movie, this Wonder Woman thing. If they're going with these shows and stuff that are not mainstream, like Booster Gold.
Yeah.
We're getting Booster Gold, which is great, and everybody's been talking about that forever. They'd be crazy not to do it. But it gives fans something outside what we're normally used to, so we're not constantly comparing it to everything we've gotten before.
Yeah, I mean, and they are pulling out some good... I mean, James Gunn, you always know he's going to pull some of the weirdos out of it. That's kind of like his niche. But, we are still concentrating on, Superman. This Batman Brave and the Bold I'm excited about. Even though it's going to be like, wait, there's Robert Pattinson Batman, and then there's going to be this other Batman, and what happened to Ben Affleck Batman? It's just like, but that whole story about Damian Wayne, did you hear? Yeah, about his son, his long lost son, who in the comics I think they're going to have to age him a little bit, make him like 16, because in the comic book he's like 11, 12, but he's kind of he's like
it'll be all right.
It's like a hit girl kind of thing where he's like a son of a bitch assassin, and Batman's trying to rein him in. So I'm really, I'm excited. And did you hear the whole thing about Swamp Thing?
Yes.
Yeah, they are doing a Swamp Thing,
and I'm really hoping they lean into like the what's his name? Oh my God, Watchmen. The guy who wrote it.
Grant Morrison, or is it Alan Moore?
Alan Moore's Swamp Thing stuff that was like super fucking like good.
Well, the big thing around town is, after
Alan Moore? Is it who I'm thinking of? Who did Swamp Thing?
I thought it was Grant Morrison, but it could be Alan Moore. No, we recently, after he announced all his slate with the Swamp Thing, which I was like, oh wow, that sounds good. They're really leaning into like the horror aspect of it, but he'll still work within the DC universe.
And that's the Alan Moore run of Swamp Thing. Is that really like horror version of Swamp Thing?
Yeah, and interesting thing is on Twitter, James Mangold.
Where's Shagger when we need him?
Yeah,
James Mangold.
Right? Yeah, we need comic book guy. Can we hire comic book guy?
Actually, it was the second run of the Alan Moore.
No, James Mangold tweeted a panel from Swamp Thing, so everybody's like,
oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's pretty much almost confirmed that he'll do Swamp Thing, which I'm super excited about.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, the guy who did Logan, I mean, for God's sakes, he's doing that new Indiana Jones, which I pray is not time travel. So yeah, I mean, what can we say that hasn't been said already ad nauseum about the whole slate? I'm excited. I'm excited that DC is going to start getting some good movies. Not that this Zack Snyder stuff was all that bad. I really hope that with this Flash movie, they kind of reset. I'll be honest with you. I mean, you have all these. Technically, we still have 4 DC movies coming out from the old regime this year.
I just don't feel like I need another Flashpoint. It was done on the TV show, not that great, but I got it. It reset the Arrowverse is what they referred to it as, because Arrow started off that whole DC universe on TV.
The Berlantiverse.
The Berlantiverse stuff. But we've gotten that. We've gotten the cartoon one. We've gotten the comic book. Do I need another Flashpoint? It's like when they do the freaking... Which is why I'm glad they said the Superman movie is not going to be a fucking Superman origin story. We don't need that.
Yeah, I think they're learning from Marvel, where it's just like, how many times do we have to see Uncle Ben get shot on? Yeah.
And I mean, again, they're going to give me the Flashpoint. Okay, I already know the whole story. I get to see a great live action, cool, whatever that you do with it, but do I need that?
Well,
that's how they're going to reset the universe. I get it.
That's how you do it, and they already have this in play. I mean, I would love to see. I mean, and what the interesting thing about the DC stuff is that some of it is staying. Like we have the Amanda Waller show, which is
I'm
staying.
excited about.
Yeah, I mean, basically all the James Gunn stuff that was there prior is safe, like the Peacemakers and stuff. It is pushing Peacemaker season 2 farther back, which is kind of like, but whatever.
I just feel like it'll be more gooder then. That's all I'm going to think.
Yeah, and he's also saying that, like, some's going to stay, some's going to go. And, what was really weird is that he started talking in the beginning. He's like, look, and, he has to say it because all these movies are coming out. He was basically like, what was interesting is that he's like, look, the door's still open, for Gal Gadot. That's still open. Ezra Miller, they're still available.
We're not closing those doors.
We're not closing those doors. I'm like, poor Henry Cavill.
Well, no, because he did say no. Because didn't he come out and say that? Was it? Yeah, he mentioned Henry Cavill, who by the previous regime just got screwed over left and right.
Oh, absolutely.
And he brought that up.
Yeah, but he did say the door was open for all the the Ben Afflecks and all that other stuff, but he never mentioned Henry Cavill. And I was like, but then apparently J.J. Abrams is doing this. See, this is the thing. It's so, and I do like the fact that they said, as far as like the Matt Reeves Batman and Joker and the Penguin, all that stuff, they started their own brand, DC Elseworlds, right, where it's just like you could do standalone stuff over there. They're doing this whole DC universe. They're trying to do that. But if somebody comes in and goes, look, man, I got this awesome, idea for whatever, they go, all right, we'll do it as DC Elseworlds, and just put it on the side. That's fine. I would love to see Flashpoint just, I would love to see the end of it, like all this stuff going on and just like changing everything. I mean, as much as I love Jason Momoa, I'm not.
My man!
I want blonde hair, blue eyed Aquaman.
And
I want old school Aquaman talking to fish, riding the seahorse. With the thing, it'd be so great if he did this like Flashpoint thing, and all of a sudden Jason Momoa turns into a blonde. They get some other actor and they get some other Batman. And
dude, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if you ever saw the Aquaman TV show that was on Apple TV. They did a pilot.
No,
it was really good, and I was kind of upset they never ran with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they put the pilot. I have it. I'll show it to you. I watched the pilot. It was good. It got into a little bit of the origin stories and, but they never went anywhere with it. And it was in that time of like before the Arrowverse and all that shit. But when you had like all those tweeny shows popping up on, was it CW at the time? I think it might have been, or the WB or whatever, wherever it was going. They did this pilot, shot it, and then everything started changing. So it just kind of got forgotten about and went nowhere. So Apple TV was like, can we put that pilot up online and let people watch it? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, okay.
Wow, I'd have to watch that.
I paid my $1.99 for it.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, as much as I love Jason Momoa, and now that they're
just like seahorse riding,
that famous one was it the State when they do the Batman, go over here and do this, Superman, Aquaman, go talk to some fish. And the Aquaman is just all bummed. He's like, but you know,
I'm texting upstairs being like, can you all stop dragging chairs around?
that's fine. It's you know, it's podcast sounds. People love podcast sounds.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
It sounds so
So
unprofessional.
yeah, to recap, I want a blonde hair, blue eyed Aquaman.
Me too.
Make fucking Jason
'Cause I'm
Momoa
racist.
Lobo. Yeah, exactly. Keep Gal Gadot because she's gorgeous. Ezra Miller can go freaking chew on a grenade. You know, yeah, they'll pick and choose. But anyway, it's exciting.
It is.
It is, you know, and I'm looking forward to Flash. That's really the only one. Blue Beetle sounds awesome too, with the guy from Cobra Kai. And they had to say that just to kind of make people still go to the theater. Because, you know, a lot of people were like, well, if you're changing everything and everything's a full... Why am I going to waste my money and go watch these movies if they don't count?
Yeah.
You know, so I think they'll count. And I'm really... all this talk about Flash, I'm like, come on.
Well, that's why I think it's good that they dump some of the things, because as much as we wanted those shows like the Batgirl show, when it's not going to be part of what they're putting out, it's like it just seems so out of place.
Yeah.
It's like, where does this connect to anything? It doesn't. Oh, well, then why are we doing it?
Yeah. Well, that was the interesting quote, too, about what Peter Safran said about Batgirl. Because they were like, well, now that you got this new regime and, you know, everything is, you know, resetting, you know, maybe you could put out the Batgirl. And he was like, we watched it. It was unreleasable. He basically...
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Safran was like, this movie, it'll never come out. It is unreleasable.
So everybody who's been touting it as like, oh, it was so good, and it was so, is full of shit.
Yeah,
Because
well-
I heard early on people who had seen some of it were like, it plays like a bad episodic TV show.
Yeah, yeah. People, yeah, there are people that just, I mean, the curious person to me is like, of course I want to see it, you know.
Yeah. I
But
hope
at
it
the
gets
s-
leaked at some point.
But what they said, you know, with Safran, he's like, look, it's basically unreleasable. It's not good. And if we did release it, it would tarnish what we're doing now.
Okay, I can respect that then.
You know, so he was honest about it, which I, you know, of course everybody's curious, and sure,
So you're
maybe,
saying there's a chance.
yeah, who knows? You know, anything's possible.
It
Look,
might
we
be
got
one-
Zack Snyder's Justice League freaking years later.
It
so.
might be one of those things that when all the dust is settled and everybody's all, you know, two fists into the DC universe, they go, hey, you know, on HBO Max, we're going to throw this little gem up there for you guys to watch. You all asked for it. You get what you asked for, but be careful.
See, that's the problem, too, is that everybody wants to see it out of morbid curiosity, but as soon as it comes out, they're going to be like, this sucked.
Why did you do that to me?
It's like,
They never should have released this. Fucking keyboard cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's
yeah,
all I got.
cool.
John, you got any news?
Yeah, so, I mean, as far as, like, movies and stuff like that, I haven't seen anything.
I have.
You did.
I watched some TV and I watched a movie.
Well, I got my usual TV stuff, but the movie stuff, I was all freaking DC'd out, so I was just like, whatever. I saw DC Cab.
Oh.
Don't let your dick run your life. Mr. Rhyme only cost you quarter.
Yeah, that's right.
But I watched that movie Shotgun Wedding with J-Lo and what is it? What the fuck is his name? That guy.
Kurt Cobain?
No, yes, Kurt Cobain. It's on Netflix, I think it is. Shotgun Wedding. They have like this. They have I feel like I talked about this last week. I thought.
No, I've this Shotgun Wedding. This is news to me.
They're getting married
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing it in like what the fuck is that Eastern Asian? Oh my god, it's one of those Pacific islands
Okay.
or one of those
It's a destination wedding of some sort?
some sort, and the wedding gets raided by pirates. Spoiler, they're not really pirates. They work for the bad guy who is J-Lo's ex-boyfriend in the thing.
She's still doing these freaking movies?
The rom-coms, yeah. And her but the best is her ex, who is the bad guy who set this whole thing up to rob the father of the bride of all this money is Lenny Kravitz.
So Lenny Kravitz was a pirate?
Well, not a pirate. He was like this like rich mogul guy who worked for her dad, who she was supposed to marry. It's like this whole. It was a fun, like, okay, whatever movie. I would never watch.
I
again.
think whenever Lenny Kravitz walks in the door, they should just be like,
Oh, swinging dick. So TV wise, I watched two new things on TV.
We just passed right through the shotgun way. I'll tell you a really quick story though. That one of my friends.
I'll look up the guy's name because I don't know why it's escaping me.
We're talking about fucking pirates. A friend of mine who's a teacher, he was telling me a story at practice that a kid in the school brought into school a parrot. They're walking by the locker and you just and they open it. It's a freaking parrot. It was the wings were clipped so it couldn't like fly away.
Yeah.
But they find this parrot in a freaking locker, and this kid just took. So he had to call the mother and say, "Your daughter brought in a parrot to school." And the mother's like, I thought it was weird that usually that thing starts calling in like the morning, and like I didn't hear it, so I was kind of wondering. And she had to go, and of course she didn't bring a cage.
Did nobody notice it while she was bringing it on the bus and shit?
No, she had it in her pocket. Like it was a decent sized parrot. It wasn't like a parakeet. It was a fucking
Full-blown parrot.
It was a full-blown
There's a goddamn parrot in a locker.
let me tell you something.
Shouting out the answers to the test.
Mayor Bass here, everybody.
Shh, the mayor wants to talk. Everybody listens.
You can bring in a chimpanzee.
Okay.
You can bring in a brook trout, but goddamn, don't bring in a parrot.
They're too noisy.
Jonathan, the parrot. call, motherfucker. So of course, this teacher is a science teacher and had a cage. Luckily, so he gave the cage. So he goes, I gave her. I put the parrot into the cage, and the thing bit me, and I was like, oh. So the mother comes. He hands over the cage.
The mother goes, "That's not my parrot."
That's a parrot impersonator. That's a goddamn man in a parrot suit. What kind of moron thinks a man in a parrot suit's an actual...
It's actually his little brother, Jeremy. Jeremy, why did you dress up as a parrot? I don't know, call. I was told I would get a cracker.
I was told there'd be crackers.
So he goes,
Didn't want a cracker? I've been a science teacher and there's no crackers.
can I get a Ritz in this motherfucker?
I don't want no goddamn saltines. Get me a fucking Ritz or a goddamn Triscuit. I don't want no oyster crackers. Although they are easy to eat.
He goes, I had to give the mom and the kid the cage, and that was like a $250 cage. I was like, you know what you need to do? You need to go to the house to pick up the cage dressed as a pirate. Like, which one of you landlubbers took my cage?
Where's my cage? That's not my parrot. That's a kid in a parrot costume.
She made me do it.
My parrot had a wooden leg.
That old joke with the pig with the wooden leg, because he saved him in a fire, and he goes, so he lost his leg in the fire. He goes, no, you can't eat a pig like that all at once. That was one of my father's favorite jokes, the pig with the wooden leg. Oh, God. I'm like tearing over here. Thinking about my friend dressed as a pirate showing up and being like, where the hell's my goddamn cage?
A little brother running around the house in like one of those Spirit Halloween inflatable costumes. I got the chicken one upstairs. He's got the parrot when he's around their house going, caw, caw, caw. Mom, when can I take this? Shut up and eat this cracker. I'm not going to tell you again.
The father answers the door with a hook. Where the hell's my parrot cage? You son of a bitch.
Anyway.
Oh my God, I'm crying over it. I smell. What's that? I smell animation coming from my freaking parrot
That's just
story.
my onion sack.
I'll do a check later.
Anyway, TV show wise, I watched two new TV shows.
Okay.
The first one was on Sci-Fi. It's called The Ark. I actually think the second one's on Sci-Fi too. I don't know where it's from, but I know the first one's The Ark on Sci-Fi. It's all about Earth is doomed. They're traveling to a foreign planet on a spaceship. There's an accident on the spaceship, and all the main crew, like the captain and all those people, are on one pod that they're in hibernation. And they all fucking die. So now all the underlings are like, well, we got to run the ship.
Did they take two of every animal and put it on there?
No,
So it has nothing to do with Noah's Ark.
Sounds fucking
Was
crazy.
there a parrot on the Ark?
There was.
There's two of them. Heckle and Jekyll.
half the people out there would be like, "Who the fuck's Heckle and Jekyll?"
Ooh, old chum.
It sounds like a great show, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Somebody
not.
should do
it's
that.
It's so bad. It's so cheesy. This show.
Oh, the arc. Yeah.
It's so funny. You could
I
tell.
thought
it
you
was
were
like,
talking about the thieving magpies of Heckle and Jekyll.
I feel like these fucking shows that take place on a spaceship like that are a cop out because they're like,
no set. Just
no set.
one. Yeah,
Just
one.
Build a facade. The other show I watch is one called The Watchful Eye. It's got that guy who plays Jack on Lost.
Okay.
He's a dad. The show starts with his wife jumping off the top of the building and committing suicide, and now they're hiring a nanny to watch the kid, who's she's a con artist,
Okay.
and who had gotten arrested. And this cop is like, "Hey, how about this? You work for me. I got a deal for you. I won't arrest you if." And they want her to go he wants her to go be the nanny, so she gets this job as the nanny because they're gonna rob him of this like ruby or emerald that they have.
Oh, it's a heist.
But it's not because the fucking house is haunted.
Oh, jeez. And then comes the zombies.
Yep. I don't know how I feel about it yet. So
Sounds pretty convoluted.
the only other really cool thing I watch, and this is kind of like what I put in the notes of YouTube, is that video by Pop Culture Detective called The Tragedy of Droids in Star Wars.
Okay. Yeah,
Where
you told me about this. Sounds interesting.
They go through and talk about how Star Wars does this thing where they take the droids and it's like you're either meant to feel absolutely nothing for them because they're cannon fodder, where like comic relief, ripping them apart, but also have an emotional attachment to droids like C-3PO and R2-D2 because they've been humanized. And he postulates that like all these droids are stuck in this recursive loop where they just constantly are learning more and more and more and start to become more and more self-aware, which is a really cool concept. It's very sci-fi. But he points out that the most tragic is L337 from the Solo movie.
Oh,
who
God.
she gets killed. She liberates. She's the only female droid we'd ever really seen. She gets killed. She liberates all these droids, and she's like, "I found my purpose.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to liberate." And then she gets fucking blown up. And then they hook her up to the Millennium Falcon and
I was
upload
gonna-
her intelligence to the Millennium Falcon, and now she's trapped. And how tragic that is! That like she makes it her mission to like liberate. She started out as like basically, I didn't know this. She was originally like a R2-D2 type droid.
Oh, okay.
Who was, as she became more self-aware and more conscious, was upgrading and adding on to herself, giving herself arms, giving herself legs, fucking. And I was like, I would think it would be an awesome movie to see a droid that went through all this and eventually started using that tech. Like Luke's got the fake arm that's got skin.
Yeah.
So it starts adding parts to itself that are like fake limbs with skin, and how people in the Star Wars universe, a lot of the characters build, and this is me, build on like, oh, I'm going to augment myself for, better sight, better tracking, electronics and all that stuff to become integrated with technology, whereas the droids are evolving to, we want less visible technology. We want to look just like people.
Oh.
Which is
okay.
not a unique thing, but I would love to see a Star Wars show where they take that route, because I never really thought about L337 being like that self-aware, like makes jokes, insults people, is in love with Lando.
Yeah.
I mean, and it explains why, like they talk about how it explains how it's always like, oh, she this and she that when they talk about it, because
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really interesting video, and it gives you a second look at like how droids. I mean, I know droids are always like used as a vehicle to represent some greater. Like they said, robots were always supposed to be like slaves, and it's supposed to represent slavery and all this. But with L337, it's like a completely tragic tale. It's the ultimate tragic tale of droids in Star Wars.
Well, I mean, Star Wars has always been great of making us really care and feel about droids.
Yeah.
I mean, look at K2SO in Rogue One when he gets freaking spoiler alert, or IG-11
Yes.
in Mando when he sacrifices himself,
Well, yeah, and they talked about that too, and how he, like, that's when Mando reached his arc of like, no, you can't, like, grew attached and realized droids aren't bad.
Yeah.
Because you've got your droids that have their the bolts that they put on them. What the fuck are they called? The restraining bolts.
Yeah.
And that whenever droids start to become a little too self-aware, they're like, take that droid into town and have his memory wiped.
Yeah.
And that having memory wiped is like, you don't remember any of this shit. So you're going back to just being a bolted slave and shut up and do your work.
Yeah.
And it's like really kooky when you think about.
And it's
that.
also scary too that you don't want these robots that are supposed to be helping you all of a sudden take. We've all watched freaking Skynet.
And I never knew that. I knew that Jay and Silent Bob are based off of R2 and C3.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, what Kevin Smith has said, he's like, I modeled them after R2, D2, and C3PO because you need those two guys who are like the anchor between all the things that are always there. But I didn't know that R2, D2, and C3PO were based on two characters in Akira Kurosawa film.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Remember. It was these two villager guys, and like they did a side-by-sideness of a clip from the Akira Kurosawa film and R2 and C3PO like arguing. It's like, go on on your own. You won't last a day without me. And like that whole scene is lifted right out of the Akira Kurosawa film.
Well, yeah, I mean a lot of that stuff for Star Wars, it was based on, those old, West. He based it on like westerns and Flash Gordon and samurai movies and
Dune
and Dune, yeah.
So that's all the movies, TV, and I had to say that I consider that it was a 30-minute video on YouTube, so I consider that like watching a TV show.
Well, I mean, since we did talk about Star Wars and droids, should we go into Bad Batch? Just kind of touch on that.
So good.
All I have to say is 2 words: Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah, but he was in
Gungi.
He was in the Clone Wars show.
Yes, Fred told me that there was an episode in the Clone Wars that he was in,
and they postulated that. I watched a video again, Screen Crush. He talked about it was either Screen Crush or another New Rockstars was saying that like in that he never actually was an actual Padawan because as more and more Jedi were off fighting in the war and dying, they didn't have enough Jedis to be masters or for all the Padawans they had coming up. So he kind of was like on his own. You can kind of get that from the show. And then after Order 66, he was really on his own and running, which I knew was why when he saw the Bad Batch, he's like all mad and get away from me. But
yeah, you got to figure a lot of these Jedi like look at them and go like, oh my God, they have to tell them like, look, no, we're on the good side.
It was really weird though when they're like, oh my God, it's on fire, and they're like, get help or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like everything's gone. It's like, wait, how on fire was everything?
They're just throwing dirt on everything. I think that's what they were saying.
It just jumped, and I was like, that was a weird transition. There was no transition there.
Twice. It didn't happen twice, yeah. But I think Gungi, his name is Gungi. He's adorable.
Well, and I guess this was originally supposed to be an episode of, was it the Clone Wars? Was based off of this, and that's when they say, oh, it's been a long time since we back to Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
And that was in reference to what was supposed to be a Clone Wars episode, which they just kind of changed the story of that Clone Wars episode that never got made.
Yeah.
And made it a Bad Batch episode.
Filoni is always good at like digging out old stuff.
He's felonious.
He is very felonious. He's felontastic. No, but I just thought like I wasn't familiar with the Clone Wars episode because I did watch some of those essentials, but I didn't really get into it. And then I just see a Wookiee with a freaking lightsaber with that little snaggletooth. I'm like, he's adorable.
He is.
I want a freaking Gungi doll now.
Get a Gungi doll. I got my. Where's my? Oh yeah, I got my doll over here.
Oh, who's that?
That's
Bluey.
Wait, let's see.
For real life, let's do this. Hooray! I got an idea.
I want to hear the Here Comes.
Bingo, look at this. Hooray!
Hooray!
Bingo, I got an idea. For real life. Bingo, I got an idea.
This is thrilling.
There's one more. There's one more. Bluey goes. Here come the grannies. That's like one of my favorite Bluey episodes. Is the grannies episode. Grannies don't floss. Granny, do you floss? Yes, I floss every night. No, not floss your teeth. The dance floss.
Oh, it's also about the dancing floss.
I'm sorry. I digress.
No, that's fine. But
so
yeah,
the arc. Watchful Eye. Meh.
Yeah.
Shotgun Wedding. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, but Bad Batch, I also wanted to instill, since we do have a whole bunch more episodes coming in, I think we should definitely instill the Omega annoying meter.
I sent you that picture, and I'm like, oh, that's a punchable face.
She was about a 4. On the Omega annoying meter, she was about a 4. She wasn't that bad.
Well, she wasn't in Alive, but we did get to see more evidence of her being Force sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, she was grown, and they want her because they say it's because she's the only first generation clone of
Yeah, that was
wow,
Boba.
Boba Fett. She's the not Boba.
Jango?
Jango Fett. She's a first generation clone of Jango Fett, which really means she's Boba Fett's sister. Hold on, but
Very
and
incestuous.
that's why
this
they want
galaxy.
her because it's the purest copy of of his DNA.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also the idea that like, well, she was probably also infused with midichlorian, so she would be force sensitive in an effort to start getting ready to clone for, you know.
We've decoded the intel from the First Order spy. Somehow Palpatine returned.
For the return of Palpatine, right?
That fucking Palpatine. He just always pops up.
Unlimited power. Unlimited power.
Rise.
So I find it very interesting. I wonder where her story is going to go.
Hopefully at the bottom of a ditch. I don't know why.
Tell me about it.
But yeah, no, it was definitely a good episode. So
Best one yet so far. I mean, I've liked ones that you didn't like.
mm-hmm.
But of all the episodes so far, this is probably one of the ones I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, no, it was definitely better than the last two. The last two were just Adventure of the Weeks kind of stuff. And like I said in the past, I'm like, I'm fine with those. I'm fine with them. But, you know, there's certain ones like talking about, this is a good segue into the next thing.
Look at you.
I'm just, you know, talking about these like little adventures or bottleneck episodes. I mean, The Last of Us.
Oh, my God.
Gay Swans in Love.
Dude, the way they packed an entire love story into like a 1 hour episode and really made you feel.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, it was technically an hour and 20 minutes, so it was pretty much a movie at that point. And there's one guy that I do follow on YouTube, Cody Leach. Little shout out to him. He's a YouTube guy. He does a lot of reviews, mostly horror, but like he's been doing this Last of Us. And he will show, you know, scenes from the game and then talk about the episode so you can kind of see it. And apparently, you know, the whole Bill thing was just completely
fabricated for the show.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, they allude that in the game that Bill had a partner and that the partner killed himself. You know, spoiler for the game.
In the game, what happens is when you encounter Bill, him and his partner, what the fuck is his name? Anyway, have already split, like called it splits, because you know the whole fight they have, like, oh my God, you're so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he got tired of Bill's constant, like, the way he was, and was like, fuck you, and then got attacked and bit, and rather than turn, he hung himself.
Gotcha.
So they don't even tell you, like, any of that. They kind of retcon that entire storyline, which is fine. It works better for the show.
Yeah.
And I think it created a real huge emotion thing and set up everything with him having to take her and take responsibility for her. And I don't know if you like kind of paused and read the note.
Yeah.
In the note where she stops and he takes it.
Well, it says Tess.
It says take care of Tess and do right by Tess or something like that. But then he basically, if you read it close enough, he's suggesting a wine and food pairing, as if to say, like, when you guys finally recognize the fact that you're in love with each other and stop fucking around and have an actual date.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting to see that in the note, but I love that storyline that they added that.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a beautiful, and it was totally, and it kind of gave me hope too, because we did talk about, you know, everybody, so far it's been like shot for shot of the video game.
Right.
So, you know, when I did hear certain spoilers about the video game, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm now gonna know, but like I like to see how things play out. The fact that this was an element of it, and what they've been doing in the past, you know, couple episodes that they've released, is that they're taking small parts and they're enhancing it, like with Joel's daughter,
right?
That you're getting more of a backstory. Now we had a whole hour of Bill and, you know, his partner, which you gotta look up. I can't think of his name. Is it Murray or something like that? You know, first of all, Nick, I always want to call him Nick.
Joel?
Yeah, no, not Joel. Bill's character, Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him play a dramatic role like that, and he was just, you know, he had a little Swanson in him, you know. Frank, thank you.
Bill and Frank. Take him to Bill and Frank's.
Bill and Frank. Franks and Beans. No, yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was so powerful, and the love story that they had, and you know, like, you know, Nick Offerman is actually, he's a classically trained musician. Like
you wanted to say pianist.
Penis. I could. Penis, vagina.
Pianist.
A pianist.
Not a penis.
Pianist. But
Yes.
he performed that himself, and he was like, I actually had to kind of make it not that good. You know, like,
it was a stretch to make it bad.
and come on, when you watch that, and he finally he got he's like a doomsday guy. He's got it all set up, and he sets up the Bill's town, and then he sits down and eats the. And I just think, meat. From Parks and Rec, he's just sitting there. But
There's some theory that Frank purposely played Fast and Not Right as a way to kind of like entice Bill into sitting down and playing,
yeah,
which I can see. But I mean, fuck, man, when Frank is like, realizes that there's something going on between the two of them, he's like, why don't you go take a shower? And he's like, and when Bill leaves to go take a shower, he just starts crying.
yeah,
Because he's like, here I am in a world where I thought I was just going to forever be alone. And that takes place, you have to, I don't know if you realize that this all started in 2003, and the outbreak kind of starts just before the legalization of gay marriage in Massachusetts.
Oh, I didn't
so
know
it
that.
still wasn't legal in Massachusetts when the events of the show took place. It
Yeah.
didn't even like come up.
And it did kind of seem that, like, you know, at the same time, like Bill, and they did mention it when he was in bed with Frank, that he's never been with a man before.
Right.
I don't even think he's even been with a woman.
No,
you know,
he'd been living with his mom.
yeah. So it was all like new to him, and he didn't know. But
Channeled
like,
all that like.
and
pushed
you
him
know,
down. I think he pushed all of his gay down with prepping.
yeah, and it was so beautiful after he played that Linda Ronstadt song, that he was just like, you know, oh, who was the girl? And he's just like, and, he goes, and Frank just puts his hand on his shoulder. He goes, I know, you know,
Like to say, you don't have to. I know.
you don't
I know
have to
you're gay.
pretend. Yeah, it's okay.
And it's okay. I am too. And I like it when he's like, look, I'm not a whore. I don't sleep with people for food.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to realize this actually means something to
Or
me.
my favorite one, where he goes, if I let you in, then you're gonna let a whole bunch of other people in. I don't want this to be an Arby's. And he goes, Arby's didn't give out free food.
And that's where I think he knew, like, all right, this guy's not a threat. Like,
Yeah, and it was just such a beautiful story. It was, you know, a love story, and like the way that it ended, and that it showed that, you know. Why are you gonna make me cry?
Before we get flagged on fucking YouTube and taken off the air.
Yeah, and it's another Kate Bush thing where it's that
I'm
song
hoping-
that was
Is
just,
it taken off?
Oh yeah,
Good.
Yeah, people are going nuts with it.
Good.
But
Linda Ronstadt deserves it. And that, you know what's funny is Linda Ronstadt recorded that in the 70s, but that was actually like someone else's song before from like the 60s that she knew and met, and she redid it.
yeah, it's one of those like
She
will
made it
always
more
love you
popular?
kind of thing. Yeah.
You want to listen to that episode, guys, go back and listen to our old episode where we do our favorite remakes of songs that are sometimes somewhat better than the original.
Yeah.
We did a whole episode on that one.
Yeah, we did. Check out the playlist. Yeah, so I mean that whole episode, it really hit me in the feels.
Yeah.
I loved it. You know, it moved the story, and then it showed, you know, the cynical. We all have to get that like Walking Dead stink off of us. Of like Frank comes in, and it's like, all right, what's he gonna do? He's gonna freaking kill him. He's gonna do this. He's gonna torture him. He's gonna do this. It's like, no, they fell in love. Joel gave them strawberries.
Yeah.
And they almost made love in the strawberry
And
patch.
he's like, I traded a gun, one of your guns for strawberries. He's like, which gun? He goes, it was a little one. Don't worry. Like, you got a fucking wall of guns. You need another gun?
I know. And it was just so sweet. And then the fact that like Ellie, well, at the end when they shower and before they leave, they have the outfits on from the video game.
Oh, yes.
And Ellie gets in the car, and she's never been in a car. She's just like, oh, this is
You
like
have to tell her how to wear a seatbelt.
Yeah. And it was so cute, like Joel just reaching over, like the father thing, being like, okay, let me put your seatbelt on. This is how you do it, you know? So it broke that wall. And that whole beautiful thing of like, you know, Frank just wanted that one more day.
Yep.
They got married, and then you knew, you know, that Bill was going to go with. And what a beautiful way. And they also, when they took off, in that window, you see the window that's open. It's like, we left it open so we didn't want us to stink after we're dead.
Right.
They didn't show the corpse. They didn't
And I'm
show.
so happy they didn't.
Oh, it was just. I mean, that show is just amazeballs. Like it's
because
just
I think the picture
so
I
well
have in
written.
my mind of them, their corpses in that bed, is probably better than what they would have shown, and they perfectly, masterfully led you there, and left you to do it yourself.
Yes, I pictured it in my head of the old couple in Titanic when the water's going and they're just kind of spooning. That's how I pictured
See,
it.
now I pictured it. They're laying in bed, kind of almost knees pulled up, face to face, with their arms across each other, holding hands on the low hand,
Okay.
their upper arm on each other, reached across at each other, forehead to forehead, knee to knee, and just staring into each other's eyes.
Or Nick Offerman's face mushed in a pillow.
Combo. Or
With Frank
you know,
dressed as a cowboy.
them in their corpses in the bedroom strewn all over the place because creatures from outside came in and started eating them.
The cat is
Open
just,
window.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that. Just a side note.
You're always
My wife was telling me there was a couple. I guess they died in their house, the two of them. But when they came and retrieved, there was 150 cats in their house. It's in Yorktown. It's like it was the ASPCA claimed it was the largest case of cat hoarding they've ever seen.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
I'm up there with that.
As important as you think you are, in the end, you're just the cat food.
All right,
But
we're getting long on time.
Okay, so we gotta hit some of this. This a little quick on the
Wow, that's fucking loud.
What? What are you trying to Pete? What are you trying to Pete Townsend me over there? Hey, speak up, Sonny. Yeah. So music news. Not a ton of stuff. The one thing I did want to touch
Was me.
well, that too. We're gonna reenact the Bill and Frank later on. We're gonna dock like that.
Bill Frank.
We're gonna do that picture that we saw before.
Whoa.
Friends forever. No, the only thing I
Belly
wanted
to
to
belly and tip to tip.
yeah.
What do you got music wise?
We're so out of it today. The only one thing I wanted to touch on before I start talking about the new music that came out is Ozzy finally came out.
Oh, he's gay.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, Sharon. No, he's finally retiring. Thank
Fucking God.
You have kids. You're a grandfather. You're a complete mess. You made it through all that stuff. You have nothing left to prove.
Yeah.
You've done it, dude. I know that when you're a musician, you're like, I just want to keep going. I just want to keep playing. Because, there's a reason why fucking Frankie Valli and, Tony Bennett and all those guys are
Vegas
still doing
residencies.
it. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, I've seen him, and I mentioned it on the podcast page. First time I saw him was 1989.
Wow.
It was Ozzy and Anthrax. Oh, it was the best. It was Ozzy, a young, fresh-faced, unshaved,
Ozzy and Metallica.
You saw
With Cliff.
I know. You saw the Ultimate Sin. I was one after that. I was
Sorry.
right after it. But it was a good one because it was Ozzy, a fresh-faced Zakk Wylde.
Right.
No beard, young, little twinkie guy.
Hold on.
Talk slower.
Yeah. Slow down.
Geezer.
Give it to me, Bill.
Got a beef and cheddar? This is not an Arby's. No, it was Geezer, and it was amazing. And back then, in 1989, it was like, oh, man, you better go see him. It might be his last tour. Cut to, after that, seeing him with Sabbath
50
twice.
years later.
And then near the end, it was like he came out with Tony, and, he was leaning against something. He could barely walk. And it's just like, dude, it was very sad for him. Because his voice, he still got the voice.
Come on, let's roll out Ozzy.
When you go to see Black Sabbath and the guy forgets the lyrics to War Pigs, I mean, come on. It's not too many lyrics.
It's like athletes. It's like, can you just go out on top? Like, there's that new movie out, 80 on Brady or 80 for
Yeah.
Brady. But like, they talk about they're going to see him retiring at 40, and then he came back, and now what did he go out on? Not a winning record.
No.
And I'm not a sports guy. It's like, You were on top and went out. You should have fucking stayed there.
Yeah. And then, yeah, now he came out again and he was just like, oh, I'm retiring now. Like, I'm like, okay. They can't. It's tough. You know, being a creative person, like a musician or a sports guy, you want it to last forever. You know, you always.
You're a performer.
Yeah, and it's not like you're like, I'm going to. Same thing with Brady. He had nothing to prove. He's got like 6, 7 Super Bowls at this point, you know?
That's his drug.
Yeah. So, and he's a young guy, you know, but still, like, do it now while you can. So, yeah, you know, big ups to Oz. I mean, you know, like I said, you got nothing left to prove, man.
Nope.
Just, you know, stay home with your grandkids, you know, and the fact that you poisoned yourself for 50 years.
Look, maybe we'll get a new TV show.
Oh, God.
Ozzy's retirement home.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, that last one was a train wreck.
I stopped watching the Osbournes.
Yeah, it was painful because, you know, he's always struggled with the drugs and the alcohol and, you know, it's back and forth. You know, the fact that he's still alive is like, jeez.
Oh, he's
you know?
pickled.
Yeah. Him and Keith Richards.
Ozzy Osbourne, the original pickled punk.
Yeah.
So what new music we got out there?
So as far as like new music goes out, there's a couple of singles and then like, you know, mention some albums. Single wise, it just came out of nowhere that Slipknot, the Knot dropped a song called Bone Church, which I put on the playlist. And it's different, man. And I like, you know, Slipknot, they're, you know, people goof on them sometimes, you know, with everything's just heavy and, you know, fast and all that stuff. Like, and I love, like, Iowa. That album is like one of my all-time favorite records. I mean, it's just unapologetic, like brutal in your face. But I also love when Slipknot does little different stuff. Goddamn bumpuses. You know, this song is very like, it's very trippy. It's different. It's different. I like it. You know, they do that on their albums every once in a while. Like their last album, they had the song Adderall, which is freaking great.
Yeah.
But it's not the... And I love that stuff, too. Don't get me wrong, but it's a nice mix. So, yeah, it was just a single that they just dropped, like, Wednesday or Thursday. They're just like, here, try, you know, there is that...
I'm not yawning at you.
No. There is an album that they keep, you know, promising or threatening that they're going to release this, like... I forget what the name of it is. Like they did a whole album that was completely weird and different that they decided to shelve, you know, and they just never, I think it's called See You on the Other Side or something like that. But like they keep threatening, like, we're going to release it because people want to hear it.
Is it a threat or a promise?
I don't know.
That's the question.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up or we'll release this shit and then you'll hate us forever. Or is it, this is awesome. If you guys come on, we'll release it.
It's one of those things where like, I love those stories of bands that have whole albums out that they recorded and they were ready to release it, and for some reason they either just shelved it and never released it, and it's just like, you know, I can think of a few examples of the Black Crowes did an album called Tall that they were going to put out like right, and they just shelved the whole thing, and you're like, well, what happened with that? The Deftones did that with Eros, I think it was. They did a whole album with Chi, and then, like, they just never released it. So
someday
stuff
maybe
like,
we'll hear it.
Yeah, and you know, bands like that are always just like, yeah, well, and then you're like, wait, yeah, I mean, it's like Batgirl. You're like, it might be shit, but I want to hear it just to decide for myself. So that was really the big single that came out. Other than that, our boys De La Soul, they put out another song off of 3 Feet High and Rising.
Ooh.
What is it? You know, I Know. The one where they sample Steely Dan. I know I love you better. It's freaking...
Okay.
Yeah, they're slowly putting out singles because I know we talked about them releasing the old albums on streaming. And I did put that one on the playlist just because, I mean, that whole album is just a masterpiece. So it was cool to see another De La song out there.
Here you go.
What you got there? Yeah.
Greetings, girl, and welcome to my world of praise and light.
Oh my god, I can't get into this because I'll never stop listening. It's so fucking good.
I
was telling my class about it. I was like, you guys don't know De La Soul. You need to. I was like, their stuff is all coming out on Spotify. They're re-releasing it, especially this album. I was like, this is like the quintessential De La Soul. This is what got me in. And then a kid was like, oh, I'm going to check it out. And I was like, and if you like that, I was like, here's another band you want to check out. Fishbone.
Oh yeah.
Check out Fishbone Truth and Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my favorite Fishbone album.
I didn't either.
Not their best, but my favorite because it's probably my first Fishbone album.
Yeah.
And I listened to it ad nauseum.
I still remember when we went to Virginia Beach.
Yep.
And they had that record store across the street from our hotel, and I bought In Your Face, the Fishbone record, and that's my
your
favorite, just because it was the first one I ever bought. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about them putting out that album, and I always tease Violet because Violet loves my daughter. She loves all that like new kind of rap, like not mumble rap, but like Tyler the Creator, and I was like, can I put on my hip hop playlist? Like mine's got like, freaking Brand Nubian and freaking De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, and and that, and the NWAs and the freaking all that stuff. But it's just a good, like, I put it on recently because of that. I listened to that song, and I have a hip hop playlist, which maybe I'll share. It's freaking all the classics, freaking
Share that with me. Fuck everybody else.
Oh yeah, I'll hook you up, brother. I'll hook you up. So yeah, those were the only two singles that I saw album wise. We did mention 7 Seconds put out that Walk Together, Rock Together single. They re-released the whole album, and they call it like the Trust Mix or Remaster or whatever. I can't tell the difference. I mean, it's a classic record.
It's a Tay-Tay move, I'm telling you.
It's got to be, where they re-record. I don't think they re-recorded it, but, that's kind of the sneak away where if you re-record it, then it can be yours.
Right.
The
re-recordings, the original recordings are not yours. They belong to the original record company, but when you re-record it, the new recordings of that songs becomes yours.
Yeah, that's the old sneaky. I mean, sometimes you get something great like a Tay-Tay or even Sick of It All. I can't believe I just did Taylor Swift and Sick of It All in the same thing, but Sick of It All re-recorded their EP.
Yeah. And
it was freaking phenomenal. And then sometimes you get like Dokken. They do it. It's so bad. Other than that, the only other album that I saw was I haven't listened to it just because it's going to be painful. Is the Smashing Pumpkins? They put out that Atom.
Oh God.
Act 1 and Act 2. It just seems so overblown. Like I'm just like, we talked about it on a past episode where I was just like, what were we thinking?
What was the band you talked about last week? That's one of those like.
Oh, the National.
The National. I listened to that song.
Yeah.
And then I was like, let me go on and listen to some more other stuff. And it was like, I found myself like singing along, making up lyrics. I want to play with your nipples.
And that right now, Daryl and Michelle are like, God damn it.
You just don't get it.
You just don't understand.
I don't, because it's got no like, I can't describe it. You hit it perfect. You're like, I feel like I'm really supposed to like this, but I don't.
Yeah, like I should like it.
But I don't know why I don't.
There are some good jams. Like I will say, there's one of their albums that I enjoy quite a bit. It's kind of the feeling of like when there's certain bands like that. Like I always say, Billie Eilish, right?
Yeah,
great. She had Bad Guy or whatever. And I listen to all her music, and I'm just like, bitch, could you do a fucking up-tempo number somewhere in here? Somewhere? Like,
well, her brother's writing all of her music.
Yeah, old Phineas, not Ferb.
Oh, get me Ferb. Get me the Ferb songs. This is the Billie Eilish album Ferb editions.
Yes.
All of her songs that he wrote up-tempoed.
Yeah. Like, throwing it up, I sound like
with Frank playing piano.
Yeah. And a goddamn parrot. No, it's, like it's I don't know. I
feel like the National. I'm sorry, Daryl, but I feel like the National is one of those bands that like is one of those too cool for the room, and you should like it. And a lot of the people who like it don't understand why they like it, but they know they're supposed to, so they do.
Yeah, I mean they do have, like I said, I'll send you the album that I enjoy, where it's like I Need My Girl. I think that's the song. It's kind of like you can picture yourself getting blown. Drinking a cup of coffee on a Sunday. Oh. It's a nice day. Do you want to go get brunch? And, I'll suck your dick.
I'll suck your dick.
Oh, God damn it.
I get it. That's what I feel like with bands like that. I feel like, okay, I'm supposed to really like this and it's supposed to be really amazing, but I don't see what's supposed to be so amazing about it.
Yeah, people say that about like, it's an acquired taste, like Radiohead or,
Brussels sprouts.
I do enjoy a good sprout now.
Oh, I love me a Brussels sprout. I told you my feeling about Brussels sprouts.
What was
I always feel like I'm the Giant in that Mickey Mouse cartoon where he's eating the fucking cart full of cabbages. Like I pretend that I'm a giant and those are cabbages.
Do you walk around going, fee, fi, fo, fum, fee, fi, mo, mum.
I'm the most amazing guy.
Anyway. All right, yeah. I'm done. I'm done with my music. Tits indeed, everybody.
Garbage day.
How dare you?
How dare you.
So yeah, just a little bit of housekeeping. Housekeeping.
You want me to fluff pillow? Housekeeping. You want me to jerk you off?
What kind of hotel is this?
My kind of hotel.
Ontario. No, don't go away. No, just man, we are out of it.
Come on in.
But yeah, what's going on? I'm just watching. You want to watch some TV? Bluey. Yeah, no, seriously, housekeeping. Exactly. So yes, we do have a show coming up. Our first Sack of Sin showcase, March 11th. It's a Saturday. Got a whole bunch of bands playing. If you go onto sackofsin.com and click on showcase tickets, you can buy your own ticket online.
Why do you got to burp in the middle? It's so hard to cut it out when you are burping while talking.
I'm very gassy today. I don't know what it
mine,
is.
I could cut it out, all the burps I did, and you'll hear it in the background on your mic. But when you're like, so go on and buy your tickets, it's like, okay, how do I edit that?
All right, let's start it over again. sackofsin.com. If you go to tickets, showcase tickets, you can purchase your tickets online. We're doing a will call, which we haven't picked out the actual place, but we're going to do a meet and greet, have everybody hang out. You can pick up your ticket there. No service charges, no fees, all that stuff. You can pick it up, and then we all kind of walk into the show together, holding hands, singing Kumbaya. Another option is we have a VIP prize pack where you can get a ticket, also get a limited edition T-shirt and sticker, a Hey Pal, What's New sticker, just for being cool. For a measly upsell of $25, you can get yourself one of those.
We're not going to tell you what's so special about the shirt, though.
No, we can't. But we will say that it is something cool. You want to take advantage of it. If you're going to be at the show, show your pride, show your support. Buy yourself a prize pack and get in there. And
you'll get your choice of Hey Pal, What's New stickers.
Yes.
Those of you watching, we have the standard little logo Hey Pal, What's New stickers, or those little white decal-y ones that you put on your car.
Those are my favorite. I have a brand new car. It's the only sticker that I have. Yeah, those Hey Pal, What's New stickers are getting everywhere. So, yeah, you want to pick up that stuff. Like I said, it's our first showcase. If it does really well, and dude, we accept PayPal, we accept credit cards. Hell, you can even afterpay that stuff.
Yeah.
You could do 4 easy payments.
Or if you really want, you could just PayPal friends and family the money to one of us with a note if you know us.
Yeah. So, support local music, support these bands. We're really hoping that we get a good turnout.
Also, those of you out there who are going like, well, I want to buy a ticket for my favorite band. When you buy your ticket, you have an option of checking the box for this is the band I'm coming to support.
Yes. So if you go on to the website, it's not just going to be like it doesn't count for the band. There's actually a checklist. You could say, I went to see The Critically Ashamed. I went to see Blue Alien Mystic. And there's even an option that says, I wanted to see all of them. So, or there's some that just say, I think JohnAlex and Greg are adorable people.
I'm married to John Alex, so I feel like I have to fucking go.
Yeah.
She's not even listening.
And look, we're not saying that it's going to be, it's not a definite, but, after the fact, we're hoping to get this recorded. So, all you people that can't attend, if you're in East Bumblefuck, wherever, you'll be able to watch it for a small fee. Because
Daryl, just get in the fucking car and come down. We'd love to see you.
I know. It's like a unicorn. It's a UNICEF, but they need your money.
Hey, how about this? You can crash at Greg's house.
That's right. You can
Daryl,
crash at
come
my
on
house.
down and crash at Greg's house.
You've always loved my couch, and now the couch that I have. Oh boy, that you fell asleep on that couch.
Man. It rivals the couch in Cold Spring. It rivals that couch
with a lot less DNA.